Viravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Shnutar Shata Shri Srimad Shalaisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. So we will continue to read from Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Diary. Several devotees.
Which day?
The day is. Oh, it is September 5. September 1976. September 5th. 5th. Bis. Nee. Bald, ja, fast bis Ende. Das ist ein Kleinparagraph, sehr klein. Ja, mehrere Devotees. Die Ende von letzter Paragraph hat Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Das ist der große Paragraph. Und am Ende ist geschrieben Jaya Srila Prabhupada, der nächste ist klein. No, it's klein. You cannot miss it. It's a sehr, sehr klein Paragraph.
Many devotees.
Yeah.
This bit you read this after.
Yeah? Oh, okay. Then Harikesh Swami. So Harikesh Swami read Prabhupada's mail in the morning. There were 2 letters from the South Seas zone, both with disturbing contents. From Fiji, Upendra reported that despite Srila Prabhupada having previously sent a letter that they should not take out a loan from the bank in ISKCON's name, they have gone ahead anyway and taken out $80,000. At that time was a big money. Upendra indicated that things in generally are not going too well. Srila Prabhupada advised that Tamal Krishna Maharaj should be informed and asked to check things out. The second letter came from Australia. It was reported that Madhudvisha Maharaj have misappropriated a large amount of money, $250,000, when he left there. However, this has not been proven, nor is it even confirmed that the money is actually missing, because the Australian temples are not in the habit of keeping accurate accounts. There has been no word from the GBC, Guru Kripa Swami, and according to Harikesh Swami, no one knows where he is at the present moment. Harikesh. So this is the how do you say, proof that more money, more problems. Get? There are 2 of them. 2. One is working, one is not working. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
My microphone.
Yeah, one is working, one is not working. So Hare Krishna. So this is interesting here that this talking to us about money, and because sometimes lately also we tend to forget this important aspect of Krishna consciousness, money or management, and we think the Krishna consciousness is all material. The Krishna consciousness is only when we chant about the Hare Krishna mantra, and sometimes it is said, and sometimes they consider these devotees who are chanting, they consider these devotees who are managing to be materialistic devotees. But we see the Prabhupada here made no such distinction. There's no distinction between making money for Krishna, or building for Krishna, or managing for Krishna, and chanting. There's actually no difference. Once in the pastimes of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, because we have now Monday, upcoming day of appearance or disappearance of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was saying that devotees should chant 64 rounds in Gaudiya Math, which is a lot. So one day, one devotee told him, Maharaj, you said that everybody should chant 64 rounds, but I see here in the mat that only you are chanting 64 rounds. Nobody else is chanting 64 rounds. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, you don't see it, but I see it. And then he went to explain that actually doing service for Krishna is also not different from chanting. There was a devotee who was chanting 4 rounds in Gaudiya Math, and the others were thinking, he's chanting only 4 rounds. But Bhaktisiddhanta said, no, but he's doing so much service that he's constantly engaged in Krishna service. So actually, in real essence, there is no difference. Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Dasyam Sakyam, Atmanivedana. All these processes of devotional service, each of them can bring us to Krishna. We should not think, of course, the process of this age is Hare Krishna mantra, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. But each of these other processes will bring us straight back to Krishna. Krishna will not think, this is just a worker. He's just a cleaning pots. He's a worker. He's useless. But these who chant, they are real devotees. Krishna doesn't think that way at all. Anything done for Krishna, Krishna appreciates. And it's actually no different from chanting. So, Shravanam, Kirtanam, when one speaks about Krishna, when one hears about Krishna, when one chants the holy name, when one sings the holy name, Shravanam, Kirtan, Vishnu, Swaram, when one remembers Krishna. There are people who engage in meditation, meditating on Krishna. They have a very powerful mind, and they can focus on Krishna's form. There are these famous, descriptions how you focus on one aspect of Krishna Lila or one aspect of Krishna, and then you meditate in this form. So Vishnu Smarana, or when Prabhupada says, if you read constantly, then we will remember things. Because the mind works in such a way that whatever we put in the mind, it comes back. Like when the other night, we were singing here the songs of Narottam Das Thakur for 2 hours. And all evening, I was just continue singing songs of Narottam Das Thakur. The next morning, I woke up. The first thing when I opened my eyes was Dhanamora Nityananda Patimora Gora Chandra. This was like my first meditation. So this is what Prabhupada wanted. Prabhupada wanted that we meditate on Krishna, and we can meditate on Krishna if we hear. So Shravanam Kirtana Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam, worshiping the lotus feet of the Lord as in the form of the deities. If you constantly worship the deities, you will remember Krishna. You will remember this, on the altar is a different atmosphere. Here is, I don't want to say dirty compared to the altar. The altar is very pure. Isn't it? Anybody who ever went to the altar knows after you come from the altar, you think the temple room, this is so dirty, this temple room. Isn't it? Not dirty, but like very gross kind of. Everything's so fine, the smells are very nice of the Lord, and Lord is standing there very gracefully, and you all feel like you cannot speak Prajalpa sitting in front of the Lord or think about Prajalpa because the Lord is there. So it's a very, so Pada Sevanam. Pada Sevanam also means we serve the rest of the Lord's property. People who do gardening for Krishna, people who do cooking for Krishna, anything, shopping. This is all serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Pada Sevanam. Dhasyam. This is the next stage when we become servant of the Lord, friend of the Lord, and in the end, one who surrenders everything to the Lord. Sakyam, friendship, and Atma. What's it? Sakyam? Atma Nivedana. We completely surrendering our soul, everything to Krishna. This is also, we can achieve success just by surrendering everything to Krishna. I have nothing else, I give everything to you. So maybe I'm not the best chanter, but I'm giving everything to you. So what else? What else can I give? As even the Lord Chaitanya himself, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, one chapter, Lord Chaitanya was very pleased with his devotees, and he told them, I have nothing to give you. You know, what can I give you? You already have everything. You have already the love of Krishna. What can I give you? He said, I can only give you myself. Yeah, I can give you my body, and you can use it whatever you like. You can sell it on the market. So this is the Lord Chaitanya's attitude also. What can you give? What can you? When gopis came to the forest, giving up the whole important things in the household, the relatives, they gave up the parents, they gave up the husbands, and they went to the forest. And the Krishna says, just go back. You know, this is not, you know. But then on the end said, no, we gave everything to you. And Krishna said, oh, I'm so pleased that you gave everything. So what can I give you back? Na paraye ham, this is a famous statement. I cannot repay you. Na paraye ham. What can I repay you for your devotion? And then he said, let that devotion be your reward. Because the devotion itself is a reward in one's life. So any of these processes, so Prabhupada's concerned about 80,000 or concerned about 250,000 is equal as chanting. It's no different than chanting, actually. But for that, one requires the mercy of Lord Chaitanya to understand. You cannot understand this unless you have a mercy of Lord Chaitanya and mercy of the Goswamis. We have also, again, in the songs of Narottam Das Thakur, we sang yesterday, day before yesterday, Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakti Chanevas, Janame Janame Hai Yabilas. Meaning, Prabhupada translated Tandera is the Goswamis. When I will understand the literature of the Goswamis, then I can understand Radha Krishna. I can understand the pastimes of Vrindavan. So, if you get the mercy of the Goswamis, the mercy of Krishna, the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, then we can understand this. Very easy to understand. But if we don't, then we'll think this is a materialist thing. Maintaining a temple is a material thing. Just okay, paying some bills. But it's actually no different. So, you know, or whatever. Book distribution, after all. When Prabhupada was even as a sannyasi going out to distribute his magazines, or you know, they were criticizing him. What kind of sadhu is this? What kind of sannyasi? He's going to sell books, making money. What kind of sannyasi is this? Sannyasi should be, you know, renowned, should study the scriptures. He should not go and sell and make money. But they could not understand that this making money is not actually making money. This making money is actually serving Radha and Krishna indirectly. Because this distribution of books is not, these are not ordinary books. Books are not different from Krishna. But again, to understand this, one needs to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, needs to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, and on the 60 Swamis. Rupa Raghunatha Kabe Hoi Beakuti, Kabe Hama Buja Bose, Jugala Piriti. When one gets the mercy of the 60 Swamis, Jugala Piriti, one can understand the loving. Piriti means pretty, comes from pretty, and Jugala means the youthful couple of Radha and Krishna. One can understand the loving relationship between Radha and Krishna if he gets the Rupa and Raghunath mercy of Rupa. Raghunath always implies 6 Goswamis: Rupa, Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath, Jiva Gopal Bhatta, Dasa Raghunath, 6 Goswamis in Vrindavan. And of course, we know the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan is not only that, there are more Goswamis. There's a Lokanath Goswami, there's a Bhugarva Goswami, there's very advanced devotees who lived in Vrindavan in the time of Lord Chaitanya. So, this is all I wanted to say. Anything else you would like to ask or say? Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. So we'll read text 128. Bhattacharya kahe. What's it? What's this? Where's it going? Okay, okay. Bhattacharya kahe na buji he na gyana yara. Bhattacharya kahe na buji he na gyana yara. Buji balagi se ha puche punarbara. Buji bara lagi se ha puche punarbara. Bhattacharya kahe na buji he na gyana yara. Buji bara lagi se ha puche punarbara.
Bhattacharya kahe na buji hai na gyana yara.
Bhattacharya kya hai na buji hai na gyana yara.
Buji bara lagi se ha puche punarbara.
Buji bara lagi se ha puche punarbara.
Bhattacharya kahe na buji hai na gyana yara.
Bhattacharya kya hai na buji hai na gyana yara. Buji bara lagi se ha puche punarbara. Bhattacharya kahe na buji bara lagi se ha puche punarbara. Bhattacharya kahe na buji hai na gyana yara. Buji bara lagi se ha puche punarbara. Bhattacharya kahe. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied, Na buji, not understanding. Hena, this. Jnana, the knowledge. Yara, of someone. Bujibaralagi, just try to understand. Seha, he also. Puche, inquires. Punabhara, again. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied, I accept that you do not understand, yet even one who does not understand inquires about the subject matter. This is now the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wants to teach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Vedanta Sutra, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not replying. He's just listening. And he said, why are you not asking anything? He said, even if you don't understand, even if one does not understand, he should ask a question. So, next, Tumi shuni raha mauna matra dari hridaya kachi tomar bhujitena pari. You are hearing again and again, and yet you keep silent. I cannot understand what is actually within your mind. He was seeing Lord Chaitanya sitting there, but he could not understand what is in his mind. Prabhu kahe sutrayararta bujiye nirmala tomara vyakashuni manahaita vikala. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, then revealed his mind by saying, this is the one, I can understand the meaning of each sutra very clearly, but your explanation have simply agitated my mind. Purport. The factual meaning of this verse, of the verse of the Vedanta Sutra is as clear, the factual meaning of the verses of the Vedanta Sutra is as clear as sunshine. The Mayavada philosophers simply try to cover the sunshine with the clouds of interpretations imagined by Shankaracharya and his followers. Sutrerartha Bhasha Kaha Prakashiya Tumi Bhasha Kaha Sutrerartha Achadiya. The meaning of the verses in the Vedanta Sutra contain clear purpose in themselves, but other purpose you presented simply covered the meaning of the sutra like a cloud. Purport. Please refer to Adilila 7th chapter, verse 106 to 146 for an explanation of this verse. So this is the whole explanation of the 5th chapter. This 5th chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita was in the 70s. I saw this book printed as a one book. It's called Lord Chaitanya in 5 Features, and the devotees were distributing it on the street. Such a heavy philosophy. The devotees just distributed very enthusiastically this book on the street. So text 132. Sutrera mukyartanakaraha vyakyayana kalpanarte tumikahatara achadana. You do not explain the direct meaning of the Brahma Sutras. Indeed, it appears that your business is to cover the real meaning. Purport. This is a typical of all Mayavadis or atheists who interpret the meaning of Vedic literature in their own imaginative way. The real purpose of such foolish people is to impose the impersonalist conclusion on all Vedic literature. The Mayavadi and the atheists also interpret Bhagavad Gita in every verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is clearly stated that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In every verse, Vyasadeva says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, or Blessed Lord said. It is clearly stated that the Blessed Lord is the Supreme Person, but Mayavadi atheists still try to prove that the Absolute Truth is impersonal. In order to present their false imaginary meanings, they must adopt so much world jugglery and grammatical interpretation, they finally become ludicrous. Ludicrous means ridiculous. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remarked that no one should hear the Mayavadi commentaries or purports to any Vedic literature. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananchala Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayanda Dati Swapadantikam. So this is again, we had the other few days ago at the appearance day of Madhvacharya. We spoke a little bit about philosophy and main points how Madhva refuted the Mayavadi philosophy. And one of the main points, the Madhva, how he refuted the Madhva philosophy, the Mayavadi philosophy is to the platform of the Shastras. Because platform of the Pramana, of the evidence of how we gather knowledge. Because the main way of gathering knowledge is ultimately from the Shastra. The other ways are also there, but they may not be so perfect, or they may work to a certain point, but the Shastra cannot, you can say, fail. But the problem, this is what we agree also, Mayavadis agree, Shankara agrees, everybody, whoever followed the Vedic standards, who follow the philosophy of the Vedas, who accept the Vedas as the ultimate authority, Vedas as Aparushaya, not written by human beings. They accept this as the main authority where we gather knowledge. So the problem is this, that Madhva mentions, that if you think that everything is illusion, that a Brahman, who is the original, pure, unqualified, uncontaminated substance, you can say, spiritual substance, is when contaminated or gets influenced by Maya, then reflects this material world. And this material world is therefore called reflection or vivarta or illusion of what real thing is. So therefore, Madhva's argument is if somebody like we are very much, you can say, proud, or your sampradaya, uh, Shankara Sampradaya is very proud of presenting the Shastras as it is, that we follow the Vedic Shastras. But how, if you are imperfect, if you are contaminated by Maya, how can you interpret the Shastra in a proper way? How? Because you're contaminated. How can you know what is true, what is not true? So therefore, your whole pramana, your evidence falls into the water. It cannot be true because you illusion yourself. So your reading of the perfect Shastra will be distorted as everything else because you don't see the real reality. The real reality is vivarta, illusion. So when you see, Shankaracharya gives this example, if you see the snake in the night, or you see a rope hanging from, you see there's something hanging up there. There's actually a cobweb, but there's a temple commander. So you see it? So if you see, if you see a rope hanging, so in the night, for example, now, if the light is not so dim, I would think this is a big mosquito. I would not see it, but this is illusion. This is called vivarta, and because of this, I will act in certain way. But as soon as I'm enlightened, or I became Brahman realized, then I will see the light will come. Just in the morning, you see this is actually not a rope, not a snake. It is actually a rope. So this is their philosophy. But this is again, this is how Madhvacharya mentioned this. How can you know what is true, what is not true if you imperfect yourself? Um, the other also similar philosophy to this is actually our, you can say, philosophy. It's called Pratibimbavada. Pratibimbavada is but Vyasadeva presented this philosophy. Is actually the philosophy of transformation. Actually, there's a real tree, the real everything there, but this material world is a false reflection, or you can say reflection or a shadow of the real world. So therefore, it is not illusion. The material world is not illusion, it's just a shadowy representation of the real world. So it's a different way to interpret it. So what I would like to do now is for the next whatever minutes to go. There's a very nice article written by Suhota Swami, number one, and number two is one some points made from the book. I don't know exactly what's the name of the book, but it's a book written by Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj. This is the god brother of Srila Prabhupada, and he wrote the book of Defeating Mayavad Philosophy. I just want to mention a few points here, because we also sometimes when we meet people, people present this kind of questions sometimes, not exactly like this, but something like this. So it's good to know how to argue against this point. So number one point is the Mayavadis think that Brahman, the supreme truth, is nirvishesha. Nirvishesha means no qualities. We chant Prabhupada's pranam, nirvishesha shunyavadi paschatadesha. Prabhupada is delivering the Western world from the nirvishesha. Or this material, the Brahman is also nirguna, without qualities. So Brahman has no attributes, has no qualities, like we have the qualities, I'm fat, I'm big, or this, or that, and Nirguna, no qualities. And the Brahman is Ni Shakti, no potencies. And it's only illusion which causes the appearance of the jivas and this material world in Brahman. So it's somehow illusion that creates all these things which actually do not exist. So the Vaishnava question is, to whom this illusion belongs? If there's illusion in you, if there's disease in you, people sometimes have disease. They discover, you go to a doctor and the doctor says you have a cancer. And you're like, oh, I have a cancer. So this cancer is in you, but this cancer came from something else, came from somebody else or something else, came from the karma or came from different influences or from the outside influences. So that if everything is Brahman, where does this illusion come from? That means such a Brahman can be illusion by, uh, can be influenced by the illusion. So the Vaishnava is asking to whom this illusion belongs. And Mayavadi answers, it belongs to the jiva in the grip of ignorance. So it actually illusion doesn't exist. This is the argument of the Mayavadis. The illusion does not exist. It's only the jiva who think that exists. It's our own illusion. Interesting. Brahman is not influence. It's just jivas. So Vaishnavas replied, but if you say that jiva is actually Brahman, in this way you hold that Brahman can be affected by ignorance. This cannot be so, because according to the Upanishads, Brahma Satyam Jnanam Ananta Brahma. Brahman is truth, Brahman is knowledge, and Brahman is without end. Ekam eva dvitiyam. There is no other substance other than Brahman. So if you actually follow the Shastra, this is what this is the one thing that always good to quote the Shastra, that if there actually Brahman, there's no such a thing, anything else outside Brahman, no other qualities. Brahman is without end, and Brahman is truth, and there's nothing else but Brahman. So how can be any other substances without Brahman? How can be illusion other than Brahman? So from where did this second substance called ignorance come? So it's a second substance. It's not the actual part of Brahman, because Brahman is all knowledge. If Brahman is all knowledge, how can be all knowledge have illusion? It's completely contradictory. So where did this ignorance come? So the ignorance is false, for it is neither real nor unreal. In fact, there is no substance other than Brahman. It cannot exist anything contrasting. So Mayavadi answers, this is like argumentation. So Mayavadi answer to this is, what is the answer? It is Jiva who is illusion. Come back again. Not Brahman, it is Jiva. So Vaishnava says, you say that Jiva comes from Brahman. In the moment and that moment become afflicted by ignorance. That means that Brahman should be the original shelter of avidya. So how can Brahman be shelter of avidya? Coming back again. So this argument falls into the water. Not possible. So when somebody says we all one, we say, yeah, how is this we all one? If everything is one, because we are going, you are preaching in the yoga studios, and there'll be some Mayavadis, and I'm sure 100% that we chant Hare Krishna, that they think that Hare Krishna mantra is a universal mantra, we become one. There's a Mayavadi idea there. But, oh ja, Rishi Kumar, Hare Krishna, das ist Übersetzung hier, kommt. Hare Krishna, auf Russisch, besonders, das ist... So,
I have one Mataji in my school. She's learning Advaita Vedanta. She's saying exactly this. Everything is one. There is, I mean, God is everywhere. Like I am God, you are God. Like everything. Exactly. I try to speak to you about.
Yeah. So you can the answer that your question, you don't answer. You said if somebody says everything is one, then you said, how is it if everything is one? Then I do not know that.
And I don't know about it.
I don't know about this, and because I don't know something, that means I'm covered with avidya, ignorance. And if everything is one, that means the totality or one is influenced by ignorance. How is this possible? How can, again, Brahma, what is the verse here? Brahma Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Ekam Eva Dvitiyam. Brahman is truth, Satyam. Brahman is knowledge, Satyam Jnanam. And Brahman is without end. Anantam is endless, full of knowledge and full of truth. And Ekam Eva Dvitiyam. There is no other substance than Brahman. So if this is such a wonderful thing, the God, the world, then how can we influence by illusion? This is just a question. Explain it to me. and this is the explanation they give. It's not Brahman is influence, you are influenced as Jiva. But he said, yeah, Jiva is also, if you're part of Brahman, coming back to the same circle. If I'm part of Brahman, if I'm same one, everything one, how can I be illusion? How is this possible? That means that something is short circuit, something is not working properly. This is the one argument. Second argument is Mayavadis say Brahman is not covered by Maya, not covered by Maya. Rather, Ishvara is the reflection of Brahman in Avidya, and Jiva is the semblance of Brahman in Avidya. So Brahman is not covered by Maya. It's a reflection of God, as we know Ishvara. We have a Krishna and Rama. These are just reflection of Brahman in avidya, in ignorance, because this is ignorance, and just this ignorance reflects into a form. Like we have a Rama, but actually this Rama is just one of the Brahman, is just because his reflection of ignorance shows these forms. And therefore we have Mayavadis don't believe in form of God. So when they rule, dat is niet een glasfles goed. Waarom een mogelijk dat? Rule is Hanuman, is echt Hanuman. Er springt, er rennt. So this is the question, and that's a Jiva is the semblance of Brahman in Avidya also. So Jiva, and this is all different, as I said, semblance or looks like it, but it's just because it's covered by Avidya. And both of them are not real because they don't have real substance. It's just some kind of illusory representation of the real thing. So therefore, there's no substance in it. So therefore, in Mayavadi are serving God in the temple. They worship the God because they know I'm in Maya, I'm in avidya, ignorance, and I worship this form because I cannot see the real universal. Huh? They serve. They have temples. They were serving Radha and Krishna. They serve Ram, Sita Ram. But their goal is that they understand they're in a lower stadium of realization. So therefore, they worship these forms so they can actually realize that everything is big, Brahman. And then once they realize, they discard these forms as useless, unnecessary. So I was speaking about the rope and the snake, the same story. So Vaishnavas reply, if avidya can give such a result, means that it is totally different from Brahman, and this cannot be the same argument. That means in avidya, if ignorance can create such a form, that means that ignorance is completely different entity than Brahman. So this cannot be then. This is a similar argument as the Jiva. Again, the argument of the Vaishnavas is the first you say the Brahman is formless, unlimited and without attributes, and then you hold the theory by which Brahma reflects into avidya, which becomes a separate entity. Again, using the rope and snake philosophy, it implied that exist three separated and real entities, namely the snake, the rope, and the observer. So meaning there's a snake and rope, there's already two different entities, and there's the observer, one who watches this, he's also a different person. There's three different persons. So how is this possible if everything is one? So this is the second argument. Argument number 3. Avidya. Thank you. So avidya is composed of 3 gunas: satya, rajas, and tamas. And avidya is dependent on Brahman. In other words, avidya has accepted shelter of Brahman. This avidya is known as Maya and has the characteristics of the throwing potency Vikshepa Shakti, which throws living into illusion. There's this Avaranatmika Shakti, and Prakshepatmika Shakti. The one Shakti bewilders the living entity completely, and the second type of Shakti of Maya is throws you into the material world. And we see also sometimes with some not so steady or people who are uh, uh, try to become devotees, and after some time they just get bewildered and they start talking something which is no logic. And they speak in something, and the Samaya is already taken form of like this wash machine. The mind is already bewildered, and mind thinks this and that. And the next thing is Maya throws you back into the material world. And then you think, oh, finally I'm away from the Hare Krishna. I'm free now. But it's actually total illusion. So Avaranatmika Prakshika Praknika Vikshepa Shakti is throws the living entity into illusion and the covering Avaranatmika. So Prakshepa is Vikshepa or Prakshepa, throwing illusions the living entity, bewilders, and Avaranatmika is throwing it away. Now you're gone to this material world. And then you're in this illusion, like when we sometimes go in the kirtan, we hold like this, in a circle, and you spin, 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 and you stop, and you're a little bit like a little bit confused where you are because you're spinning so much. So this is what's going on. We're spinning, and then we suddenly bewildered in this material world, and this is what's going on. So this is these two shaktis. This shakti covered the jivas. A jiva is then the reflection of the consciousness of Brahman, and Avaranatmika Shakti and Ishvara is the reflection of conscious Brahman in the Vikshepa Shakti. Anyway, so this is a little bit more complicated. Let's skip this because this is the same thing. But the point is again, how these Shaktis, where they contain in Brahman, how is this possible? Argument number 4. Mayavadi teach that avidya exists from the time without beginning and does not need the support of second substance. It is due to avidya that dualities of existence such as jiva imagine to exist in Brahman. So this is another detail now that this illusion or this avidya, ignorance, is actually existing eternally together with Brahman. So it's not like something created in the Brahman, because it's just like, for example, in Christianity, you have existence of devil. I don't know exactly. He was born, or he was an angel, or something. What's the story? He was an angel and he fell down. Angel. He was angel Gabriel or something. What was it? I forget. And then he became a devil. Anybody knows Christians? Yeah. Oh, Lucifer, the angel. He was an angel, Lucifer, and then he kind of fell down. I don't know the story, but then he became a devil. So this is a similar here question, but their argument is no, they exist eternally. So the devil exists eternally with God. So he said that it does not need support of a substance. So Vaishnavas replied, the non-existence of second substance would mean that avidya itself, to imagine to be Brahman. In this case, avidya cannot be something different, and liberation will become impossible. So meaning that if that is so, that means that avidya itself to imagine to be Brahman. So that means that all these jivas who are illusioned, they can just imagine to be Brahman, to be one, but they can never be so because they're illusion. If this avidya exists eternally, the devil exists eternally, so you are a part of the devil, you are in Maya, so your desire to be liberated will never be fulfilled because you eternally actually did part which is illusion. You are eternally part of the avidya. So this is not possible to be one. This is another argument for this Irina's friend. If I'm eternally, in this conditioned world, and I'm not one eternally, how can I become one? On what grounds can I become one? Because I'm eternally not one. So this is the next argument. Yeah.
Under bewilderment, you mean confusion.
Sorry?
Under bewilderment, you mean confusion.
No. In this particular case, you are bewildered eternally because the avidya exists eternally with Brahman. parallel. So if you're a part of this eternal illusion that you can never become Brahman because you're eternal illusion. It's your illusion to think you can become liberated. This is a very nice argument, actually. So again, argument the Ishvara is the reflection of Brahman in Avidya. Um, so what if they said that Ishvara, the God, is a reflection of Brahman in Avidya? So influenced by Avidya, we have the forms Krishna, Rama, Varaha. These are all forms influenced by Avidya. Otherwise, these forms don't exist. So Vaishnavas refute. We see the reflection of the sun in the water because the sun and water have each of them their specific characteristics. So when we see sun in the water, the sun exists with certain things, sunny, round, whatever, how it looks like. Therefore, the idea that the formless Brahman, which is without limbs and attributes, reflects itself in a shapeless avidya to produce an unreal reflection cannot be proposed. How can something which doesn't have any form reflect on something and to have suddenly have a form? How is this possible? Not possible. Again, if you look at the river, the tree, you can see the reflection of the tree. If you look at yourself, you see your face or whatever. The clouds also make reflection. But if there's no any form, what is this that reflects on the water? What is it? It's not possible. So we have a little more. A Vaishnava. Like something unreal cannot become real at any moment, in any way. So number 6, a Vaishnava point about the theory of reflection. The substance of a reflection is inert, and it has no capacity to either imagine or designation to destroy. So meaning that if something reflects, if I reflect, my hand on the river, this reflection has no power to think, to imagine, to a dream, to desire to get liberation. How can this? Because this is just an inert, not moving reflection of my hand. If I have a hand above the water, this reflection is just a reflection. There's no brain there. This reflection now it gets married, whatever. It's not possible. And also does tapasya to actually get liberation. It's not possible. This reflection is no, as I said here, there's no capacity to imagine anything or to do or not do things. According to this theory of reflection, the reflected jiva is unable to destroy avidya. So meaning, how can jiva, who is reflection, has no real life, able to destroy avidya, ignorance, and become merged back to Brahman? This is just not possible. Just not possible. Yeah. According to Mayavadi's moksha is the destruction of the nescience, which has taken shelter of the pure Brahman. So nescience or illusion has taken shelter of pure Brahman, and so moksha means you destroy this ignorance. But Vaishnava said, if jiva cannot even destroy its own avidya, how can possibly destroy the avidya of Brahman? Meaning that this you cannot even your own illusion, what to speak of illusion of the whole Brahman. So this is also not possible. So another one, 7, is, let me see again, a reflection of Brahman. Mayavadi said, Jiva is the reflection of Brahman. Vaishnavas replied, if the reflection and the objects who reflects are very different, we can watch the reflection of the sun, but we cannot approach the sun even looking at it without burning our eyes. Therefore, the theory of reflection is unacceptable, and the Jivas and Brahman are not one and the same. So let me just make it shorter. So, as I said, if in the water there's a reflection of the sun. So if you want to, you can look at it at the reflection. You cannot look at the real sun. Your eyes will burn. Even now, I mean here, If you just look at that in the noon, you look at the sun, how long can you look? 2 minutes, 2 seconds, or 30 seconds? Very powerful. So meaning, how can then Jiva, which is in illusion, look at the real Brahman? This is impossible. The powers are immensely different. So the Jiva cannot contain or tolerate the influence of the real Brahman. So we have only a few more points here. Be patient. Number 8. Mayavadis say, when avidya acts in Brahman, Jiva and Ishvara become situated in their own separated individuality and cannot come in touch. You understand? The varieties in this material world is only due to the ignorance. Jiva, we have our own avidya. Brahman has its own avidya. God, Krishna has his own avidya. The others have their own avidya. But in our own avidya, we are separated. This is another good example for the Irina's friend. If we are not the same because we are influenced by the illusion, according to Mayavad philosophy. So we cannot be one in this sense because we are influenced by the illusion. And so Vaishnava's reply. In fact, in many places it is said that Ishvara resides in the heart of the jivas. Besides the Mayavadi preachings Ishvara absolute absence of potencies, there is no need to remember hundreds and thousands of verses which are taught the unlimited potency of the Lord. All this would be invalidated if Mayavad is accepted. So this is using again the scriptural argument that the Ishvara actually is described in the Shastras that Ishvara or Krishna has unlimited potency, and they can merge or mix with the energy, material energy. And as it said that Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sacinandana Vigraha, or Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hridesha Arjuna Tishtati, that Ishvara Krishna sits in the same heart of every living entity. So in our heart we have us, Jiva, and Ishvara also. So it's not true that Ishvara and Jiva are separately because they are all ignorance. Ishvara or Krishna has unlimited potency. They wanted to limit the potency of Krishna in this point. And again, to limit the potency of the deities. The deities are just there contained, and they are also reflection of avidya, and we are also reflection of vidya, but we cannot mix, so we try to somehow worship that so we can somehow realize something. But Shastra says completely else, that we cannot merge, but Krishna or Vishnu or Brahman as a limited potency can be everywhere present at the same time. There's a verse in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvatra Pani Padam Tat, Sarvata Kshishira Mukham, Sarvata Shrutima Loke. I don't know the last line. Sarvatam Shrutima Loke. Sarvatam Shrutima Loke. Yeah, nature enjoying the consciousness. Yeah, this is the verse 13, 14.
13, 14 in Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. This is a very nice verse. This is explaining. Sarvata pani padam tat, sarvata kshishiro mukham, sarvata shrutima loke, sarvam avritya tishtati. Everywhere are his hands and legs. This is Krishna's. His eyes and faces, and he hears everything. In this way, the super soul exists. So this is Shastric evidence that Krishna can be everywhere. Krishna is not limited by so-called avidya. The Krishna is never illusion like we are. According to Mayavadis, Krishna is also illusion. But this is obviously Shastra says Krishna is not illusion. And because Mayavadis, they don't accept Srimad Bhagavatam mostly, but they accept Bhagavad Gita. Everybody accepts Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita says, Sarvata means everywhere. Everywhere are his hands and legs. So, few more minutes. Be patient. Number 9, Mayavadis say Brahman is exclusively composed of jnana and it is relationship with avidya is simply false idea. Vaishnavas replied, and how can this simple idea cause so much mischief to transform the perfect Brahman in imaginary forms such as Ishvara and Jiva? So meaning this jnana means, jnana means composed completely of knowledge. And this knowledge is just as you have some mistake in your knowledge. And because of the mistaken knowledge, you create jivas and create all these worlds. So the reply is this, if everything is just a little mistake, then how is this possible? How can such a small mistake transform the perfect Brahman into such forms and Ishvara and Jivas? How is this possible? Such an insignificant mistake. Anyway, so we go to another 10 and 11, and then we are done. Just two more. Shankaracharya said, Brahma Satyam Jagamityam Jivo Brahmajya Naparaha. Brahman is true, the phenomenal world, Jagat, is false, and the Jiva is Brahman. So this is the nutshell, this is the essence of the Mayavadi philosophy. We should know this. Brahma Satyam, Brahman is the reality, Jagat Mityam, this material universe is false, and Jiva, Brahma, Jya, Naparha. The Jiva is actually Brahman. The Jiva is Brahman. So the Vedas declares that we accept this as truth. This is Mayavadi says. Vaishnava replied. So Shankaracharya stated that the four Vedic mantras are the Mahavakya, or main declaration. This is the Mahavakya. Actually, nowhere in the Vedas to be found the importance given to these four mantras. So this is his own interpretation. There's nowhere in the Vedas that says that. Aham Brahmasmi, Pragyanam Brahma, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, Tattvam Asi. These are all the famous statements of the Mayavadis. In India, everybody knows this. Tattvam Asi, you are that. You are this, everything. So also this Sarva Kalvidam Brahma. Everything is Brahman. What else?
You are dead?
You are that. Du bist das. Nicht tot, du bist das.
Dead, okay. Ich dachte,
That. No, du bist das. Du bist. And Aham Brahmasmi. I, of course. I am Brahman. So this is, he said, Vaishnava said there's nowhere in the Shastras, because Mayavadis take the evidence as Shastra, main Mahavakya as Vedas, but nowhere in the Vedas this is written, nowhere. So this is a very good point. When someone says Tattvamasya, where is this from? This is just written by your guru. And I spoke to this devotee the other day, and he quoted his guru or whatever, Swami. He said, the Swami said this and this and that. I said, maybe, but this is your guru. And your guru in this assembly cannot be the absolute authority. Maybe some authority, but not the absolute authority. The absolute authority for us, our main pramana is Srila Prabhupada. And we take, evidence, we take quotations from Srila Prabhupada. And if your guru supports this, what Prabhupada says, then we accept. But if we disagree, we may disagree with your guru. So therefore, one should never quote, or be very careful when you're quoting your guru during the lecture. And he said, my Guru Maharaj said we should do this. And everybody says, well, I don't care what your guru says. I respect your guru, but I don't care what he says. This is not true. Or I don't agree with this. So this is the same story here. Shankaracharya said, Sarva Kalvidam Brahma, or whatever Mayavadis wrote this. Tattvamasvi said, well, nice for you, but I don't accept it. I actually don't, because this is not the Vedic scripture. And if we argue from the Vedic scriptures. Whenever you want to argue with somebody, first of all, you have to find the common ground on what platform you're arguing. If you don't agree about Brahmana, then you cannot argue. That's why if you want to go to argue with Christians, they said, in the Bible, Ezekiel, I have no idea what that is. Ezekiel, what is Ezekiel 3:13-24? I have no idea. So I don't care, actually. So therefore, if you want to argue, let's argue from this platform. In the early 2000s or mid 2000, 2007, 8, 10, there were so many debates, atheists versus theists, so many, and this big atheists are discussing. So the Christians, they could not quote Bibles because the atheists don't accept the Bible. But I think the problem is the Christians accepted their pramana, and their pramana is logic. And I don't think this is, why should I accept your pramana? I don't agree with your pramana, logic. What can you decide with the logic?
Logic is the pramana
Of the atheists. How can they know anything? Because I don't accept your pramana, for example. Because logic, by logic, there's no, for example, there was one very famous philosopher, Bertrand Russell. Anybody knows Russell? He's a famous, very famous philosopher at the beginning. And he was the most, he wrote a whole book describing how 2 + 2 = 4. Based on logic, the truth, and this and that. Very heavy, difficult to read, very complicated. And he was such a logician, he said he doesn't believe any religion because there's no logic to it. He could not see why people are so sentimental, going to church, praying to God. And he would say, why would I do this? There's no logic. But then what he did, he was writing book together with his friend philosopher. And he would go every day to his house. They would write together. And a few days, this philosopher was not at home. And he fell in love with his wife. And then I think he even took his wife. I don't know exactly. I was thinking, where's the logic in this? Where is your logic? How can you logically explain why do you fall in love with somebody else's wife? Where's the logic? So logic cannot explain everything. Why do I like, I don't know, bread, and you like rice? Where's the logic to it? I really like bread. Actually, like bread. I like pizzas. I like bread. I like it. So where's the logic to it? Oh, because the substance of wheat is this and that carbohydrate. No, no. I just like to eat it. So there's no logic to it. Why somebody is attracted to God? Why somebody has an interest in God? Is we have explanation because of the past life. Bhagavad Gita actually explains because being pious in this life and pious in previous lives, so therefore we come in contact with God again. And therefore, when somebody who told me yesterday saw this text and started crying, this old woman, Keshi, distributing book, and she saw the book, and the woman started crying. So where's the logic in this? Where's the logic to it? So logic cannot be the only way to assess the truth. So therefore, we don't accept this. The same thing as we don't accept this Aham Brahmasmi and Kal Sarva because somebody wrote it. And the last one, Mayavadi said that the world is mithya, Jagat mithya. The world is false. And Vaishnava replied, we reject this position. If this falseness is true, then absolute falseness will automatically be untrue. If falseness is false, then this proposition immediately falls. Therefore, the philosophy of Kevala Advaitavada, Mayavada, Advaitavada, Nirvisheshavada, and other has to be rejected. Its tenets never practice because it is against logic and scriptural injunctions. So let's deal with this now. If the falseness is true, then absolute falseness will be false. Meaning, if that means that absolute falseness cannot be absolute. Meaning that if the material world is false, if falseness is false, then the proposition immediately falls. So the falseness cannot be false. Jagat mithya, the material world is false. So if this is true, then the absolute falseness will automatically be untrue because everything is absolute. So meaning if there's absolute false, that means that this Jagat will be also false. So meaning this falseness cannot be true. Because the falseness in the material world cannot exist if there's no falseness in the absolute sense. Anyways, so therefore, all these things, Kevala Advaita, Mayavada, Advaita Vada, this cannot be true. And the main thing is, again, coming back to the same point, because it is not stated anywhere in the Shastras. Anywhere in the Shastras. It's not just anywhere in the Shastras that material world is illusion. There's nowhere, nobody ever says Brahma Sakti Jagamitya. There's no such a thing. The material world is temporary, it's an illusion in a sense, it is temporary. And one who accepts this as the real and eternal is an illusion about the world, but the world itself is not an illusion. It's one of the Shaktis of it's Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti is not illusion. Maya Shakti is the real thing. So this is the difference, and therefore we have to learn our philosophy. We have to learn these arguments, and then we can actually, when somebody tells us next time, we are all one, you can ask immediately. So if we all one, how come that I don't know this? That means that I'm covered with avidya, I'm covered with illusion, and if I'm covered, then how can I be this whole, all knowledge, all knowledgeable Brahman if I'm covered with illusion? And another argument of Madhvacharya we also had the other day, because this material world, there's so many varieties, and so many varieties cannot come from non-variety. This is just as this reflection we say. If you see your reflection in the mirror, meaning that your reflection in the mirror represents who you are. So if you have no attributes, if you have no forms, how can your reflection be full of forms, full of trees, full of insects, full of all different varieties? How is this possible? So this philosophy is full of false. But Bhaja Govinda is Shankaracharya has written this famous verse: Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda Mudamate, Samprapte Kanite Nahi Dukrin Karane. Meaning, how can you, all this word jugglery will not bring you anywhere. You will not, it is a word, the point is that this is the word jugglery, and they're very good at this. There's some people who have a special Shakti, like especially these speakers for the, in America, they have a spokesman for the president. Now the new president and this new spokesman. She's 24 or something. Very good speaker, amazing speaker. Before that, also, a young girl, very good speaker. And she can bewilder and she says things and you agree with it. Very good. And this is just material people. Imagine if somebody is spiritually powerful like Shankaracharya, he can bewilder you in Shastra and in question, interpreting the Shastra in such a way you think, wow, this is true. Brahma Satyam Jagannath. Okay, a little complicated today, but this is the verse. What can I do? The verse was about Mayavada. I spoke about Mayavada. Now we have some idea, illusion, that we are not an illusion here from ignorance, and then suddenly we burst, and then we'll see that we are all God. This is never going to happen. Never. We have all this Jiva Shakti. Krishnera Tatasta Shakti Beda Beda Prakash. What is the first line? Huh? Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabuna. No, this is a different verse. Jivera Sarupahaya Krishnera Nityadas. Krishnera Tatasta Shakti Beda Beda Prakash. This is the verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says, Jivera Swarupa, the Swarup, the eternal form of the Lord, is Krishnera Nityadas. It's actually Das of Krishna. Krishnera Tatasta Shakti, with the separated marginal energy of Krishna. Tatasta Shakti. Veda Abeda Prakash. This is the point. We are Veda, we are the same, but we are Abeda. At the same time, we are different. Veda means we are the same because we come from the spiritual nature. We are spiritual by nature, but we are Abeda also. We are not Krishna. When I was very young devotee, they sent me to collect money, and I went to different countries in Asia, Taiwan and Hong Kong, and one country I went to was Philippines. And then I went because I always like to see books, so I went to the bookstore. There was the one corner of the books was a book written by You know Tulsi Gabbard? So it's a guru of Tulsi Gabbard. You know, he was a Prabhupada disciple, then he left ISKCON, and her guru, Siddha Swarupananda. And there's a one corner in the main Karmi bookstore, his books only. I mean, and all preaching books. I bought like 6, 7. It was really good, actually very good preaching. You know, typical Prabhupada, simple preaching. And one book is named, I always remember this, My Dear Friend, You Are Not God. So I always remember this, my dear friend, you are not. So this is the message of today's lecture. My dear friend, you are not God. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
And when we understand it, then we are like,
Sorry?
when we get it more deeply, then we will realize.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
You already mentioned Sankaracharya, he would sing this prayers, and Prabhupada writes many times that throughout the history, so many authorities have accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he says even Sankaracharya, but somehow his followers have misrepresented. He writes this somewhere that he misrepresented his teachings or something. So I'm confused. Did he preach Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? If so, how is it that his followers are?
First of all, I'm not a scholar of Shankaracharya, I cannot tell you. But I can say that Prabhupada, from Prabhupada's platform, that he accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead means that he accepted, he did not say Krishna is not God. He did not say Rama is not God. He accepted, because the Shastra says so. You know, Bhagavan Vacha. You cannot say Krishna is not Bhagavan because it's written, he's Bhagavan. He followed the Shastra. In that sense, Prabhupada says he followed the Shastras. But his philosophy, his followers are following the philosophy of Shankaracharya, therefore they misunderstand. This is how I can think of. He did not write, I cannot imagine that he wrote anywhere that Krishna is the supreme. I cannot imagine, you know, philosopher. But he accepted according to the Shastra. So this is only I can think of. Like this. From Prabhupada's platform, you know, he thought, because Shankaracharya could very easily write, like Buddha, there's no God. So Buddha doesn't accept existence of God, but Shankaracharya accepts. The only thing, this God is Nirguna Brahman, who is due to the Vidya manifest himself in this form. So that's why he accepts. But his followers, they cannot go further than this Mayavada philosophy. So that's why I think now, you know, this Mayavada philosophy become even more prominent in the West than in India. I don't know. I probably did in India still, but in the West is becoming more and more prominent because so many yoga studios, they all preach Mayavada, all 100%. I don't think maybe somebody who is a Ramanuja Sampradaya, I cannot imagine Ramanuja Sampradaya doing yoga. Mostly they're Mayavadis. So we should know this. The yoga studios, they're preaching Mayavad philosophy. So when we go and we chant Hare Krishna, we should know. They think that we should merge into Krishna or merge into, we all one, you know. So we should be ready. And also we should not, how do you say, we should not hear the philosophy of them, you know, or we should not accept, as it said, even the holy name of the Lord. If we go there, we should go there for preaching purposes. We're not going there for the association. So therefore, I have to say again, devotees from the temple should go there as a sake of preaching, not as a sake of we have some wonderful association. People are chanting Hare Krishna. No, we have our Hare Krishna here mantra. We have our deities. We have our philosophy here, because it says that the milk touched by the lips of a serpent becomes poisonous. So we will become influenced by Mayavada philosophy. So we should be very careful. You can fall down, you know, drink beer, but don't get influenced by Mayavada philosophy. It's worse. It is worse. Because if you fall down, you have a chance to come back. But if you're influenced by Mayavada philosophy, you cannot come back. Then you become some love and energy and this and that, and you actually offend Krishna in this sense. I don't want to say you should fall down, but it's less dangerous for one's spiritual life because even if you fall down, whatever, next life you come back, or even this life. But if you deviate philosophically, this is very dangerous, and also you contaminate other people, and so we should be very careful associating. We should be very careful to know where we belong. Where is our stable? Every sheep has their own stable. So this is our stable. Iskon is our stable, and other stables we go to preach. Okay, but we come back. This is our stable, and all food we get in our stable. The philosophy we get in our stable. Everything we get in our stable. Even food eating by non-devotees is also dangerous. In the beginning, maybe the same, vegetarians, vegans, wonderful, but after some time, this will influence us. I've seen actually quite few devotees. They go and they become somehow, not want to say Mayavadis, but they become not so very more firm that Krishna is the supreme person. They don't want to make absolute statements. It's offensive to make absolute statement. The Krishna is God. Or the God, Jiva is separate, and Jiva is a servant of God. This is like a worse offense. So you said that we are servants. Oh, I'm not a servant. I'm a lover of God. No, we are servants of God. And Prabhupada therefore translated bhakti as devotional service. It's not love. I went once. I was in Rishikesh, and I went to one bookstore. And I looked at all different kinds of books. And I told you, the main book was, when you enter the bookstore, the main book stand like this was Tattvam Asi. You are that. And I was like, wow, I'm in the headquarter of Mayavadis. And I was looking at different books. They're all Mayavadis, Mayavadi. And there was a book, Narada Bhakti Sutra. And I thought, wow, Narada is our man. So I took Narada Bhakti Sutra, I opened, and it was all about love. Love, love, love. I was thinking, this is exactly what Prabhupada says. And because the love, I was looking at Sanskrit, the love was translated from bhakti. So whenever there's a bhakti, there's a word love. And Prabhupada was always translating devotional service, which loving but service. So this is important never to forget. We are the loving servants of the Krishna, not lovers of Krishna. Yeah.
Very nice lecture. Read this article.
Yeah, a little bit technical.
I mean this. Some yogis are exception. Some yogis are not full exception, but partial exception. For example, my teacher was always saying, "Yeah, I know. Everything is Bhagavan. I know." Then he was sitting singing Samasta, so everybody should be careful. There are some things they know, something they don't yet. And there are many, how to say, many retreats.
Yes.
They're called Bhakti Way or Bhakti Retreat, yes. Because they don't understand that Bhakti is the way.
Yes. Yes.
They don't want to.
You see, we are lucky here in the West because we also have influence of Christianity. And Christianity's influence is still strong, no matter what. So even this Mayavadism, there's also traces of Christianity. So when you said God, they can accept it. Oh yeah, because we have a background of Christianity. We have actually no idea how much Christianity is influential in our society, even nowadays. Because I follow a little bit philosophy and things like this, philosophy of law. The law is like, I don't know, so much, almost all influenced by Christianity. Because, how do you decide what is proper, what is not proper, what is moral, what is not moral? It's all based on Christianity. Although they said it's a secular society, they're still influenced by thousands of years of Christianity. And I think as the time progresses more and more, as the Christianity wanes, then they'll become real demoniac laws, because they realize, like Nietzsche said in his philosophy, he said that we kill God. God is dead and we have killed him. This is a very interesting point there, meaning that now we have killed him and we can do whatever we want. So this was his social criticism, actually Nietzsche's criticism. We have killed God and now we can do whatever we want. And he said, it will take, I think, 100 or 200 years for people to realize this. And once they realize this, then they'll become madness in the society. Because they can do anything. What do I need? Why should I follow this? Why? Marriage. What is marriage? Even now, what is marriage? What is morality? What is now they want to lower the bar to have illicit sex with 12 years old. I think it was proposal in Belgium or Holland to be allowed to have sex with 12 years old because it's why not?
Is it a law? A rule?
I think they're proposal. So we are lucky that we have still remnants of the Christianity here. And even in this Mayavad is still influenced a little bit by Christianity. So, anyways, Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya, Madhvacharya, even Shankaracharya ki Jaya. But Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya and Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta and Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj ki Jaya.